sunset. What is today? June 23rd, I think. Over here is the last of another load number 4 of 30 yards of wood chips. Here on the south side of the property, we've got what is intended to be a wind barrier, also berry patch, multi function. If you look down the road here, you'll see there's a comfrey rhizome barrier. We had some blueberries in here that didn't make it through the winter this year, and a goji berry that never did take off. This goji berry is 2 years old. Looking quite yellow. We are in Ohio in this 2019 year, so there's lots and lots of rain right now. We've had, June was 3 times the average rainfall. So in here are, let's see, these are blackberries and raspberries are at the other end. Down here we had 1 or 2 plants, and they have gone absolutely bananas at this end. Up here we've got some that we've just added in over the last couple of years, the last year. We've been in this house now. This is our this will be our 3rd winter. More berry plants. I got them caged up to keep me out of them with the lawnmower. The garden, we have 6 4x8 raised beds and 4 4x4s planted out with all sorts of stuff, beans and squashes and peppers and tomatoes. I think there's some squash trellis made out of 2 cattle panels here, training the tomatoes up it. Trying to get as much growing area as possible. The dill has gone absolutely berserk over there. That's what's in that mass. Some sunflowers that were planted by our friends the squirrels or somebody. Back here in these beds we've got more peppers and peppers in these back too, and other stuff. I don't remember what else she tells me she plants, to tell you the truth. Coming out here, this is the majority of those 3-4 trucks of wood shavings I've gotten put out here. That's since December-ish of last year. Plus we actually had 2 or 3 truckloads from a different tree service last year. Apples there, and in this first group, actually the next 2 sections or trees are both apples. Over in here we've got, that is a cherry tree, the little one, here in the front, and at this end there's another cherry tree on that T-post. We've done gills around them. I think that's a different kind of apple. We've got mint that we planted in here, we think to keep the deer out. but it went nuts this year. It's liking all this moisture. Here's a hugle mound. That we put in this winter. A lot of this got done in December, January. A couple of loads of horse manure, a couple of loads of wood chips, with a bunch of branches and a tree that we took down. The tree is trying to grow back from the log. Kind of amusingly, that tree there that you see coming out of that log is actually coming out of the log and not underneath it. Those two trees are coming off of that log. It's still trying to grow. It's been on the ground since December. We moved the bees up here this year, trying to get them out of the shade, get them into a little more sun, because we had a real bad population of small hive beetle last year. Hopefully getting them in the sun will help reduce that. That's a mulberry, that's a mulberry tree that in spring we got nice blooms on it. It had leaves, and then when this deluge started, it seems to have died. There's another one over on the other bank, or other bed, that is looking the same way. Those were ones we got out of a friend's garden. There's a mulberry tree that we actually paid for. This is that tree that I took down that we saw in the hugle bed. Here's strawberry patch number 3 here in the foreground, with the raspberries in the background. And if we look real close, we can see we are actually getting a couple of little berries. We'll see if we get them before the birds do. They're awful low, which means they're in range of the chickens as well, because we turn the chickens loose and let them free range out in here, and they tear off into this and tear into it. Over in here we've got a blueberry plant. There's another blueberry off this direction. These are both new this year. That guy right there is an elderberry. More mint. Tomatoes on the T-posts. This is our pear tree. In here, with the other elderberry, and along the bottom of this contraption is a bunch of beans planted on the near edge of this, with another hugle mound behind it. We'll look at that again in a minute from the other side. So hopefully the beans will grow up these stakes and strings. Unfortunately, we did plant some bush beans as well as climbers. This is a hugle bed that we have in. We just cut the grass today, so we topped it with all those grass clippings. We've got multiple layers of wood chips, some of our good compost, and then more logs and rotten wood. That was actually wood that was at my father's house and sitting in water, and really isn't usable as firewood, so it came back here and has found its way into this hugle bed. That bed will be extended and probably finish out this perimeter. This area here, which is a low spot, we are planning on putting the next load of wood chips in there and doing something to bring out the chicken coop and move it over here next year. That's the thinking at the moment. See if we actually do that, but that's what we're thinking about right now. Back over this direction. This is firewood that was recently cut. We got a trailer load of it, so it's stacked over here to age and drive the dog nuts. Back in here is our compost pile. Lots and lots of compost. We give our chickens all of our food scraps, bunches of wood chips, straw, grass clippings most of the time. And speak of the devil, they're the ladies now. They've just gotten some fresh loads of wood chips, and we've taken out a bunch of mulch out of here. The intent is, again, have them process that, turn that into the black goodness that they do, and then this will probably become some sort of a garden next year, possibly the year after. We'll just use them to finish off and to increase the value of the ground and the dirt, because what we have here is nasty old clay and not much else. Here's our cattle panel covered wagon looking firewood storage. It's actually more of the pallets and T-posts with then cattle panels forming the arch, covered up with an inexpensive tarp from Harbor Freight. That we got the camouflage tarp, but not wanting to look like that neighbor, we went ahead and made sure to post it, or to put it up inside out, so that it doesn't look as bad as it could. In here is firewood that needs split and cut and processed again before it's ready to be put into the wood pile. We have 2 rain barrels, 55 gallon totes. How about 375 gallon totes? IBCs. Back out towards the front. This started out as a medicinals garden with different kinds of herbs. Comfrey back in the corner there, that's what the big dark grain is. Boy, does that stuff grow good. As advertised. We did plant a bunch of hunks of wood in here last year. We dug out the ground and filled it up with wood, and then put the dirt back. We'll see in the fall, or in this hot summer when the rains stop. I hope. We'll see how that works. More garlic. Here's our greenhouse, or what's left of it. We reskinned it twice last year, only to have it torn off by major winds. So, lesson learned: don't use the cheap plastic. Get good quality plastic. So we're on the hunt for that now. We have a friend who has a greenhouse with plastic roof that she's planning on taking apart some of that roofing, and we're hoping to see that. And then we're back to the house and back to the front. Not much going on the roadside, so I'm going to stay out of back there.